Hi everyone, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to share a recipe for a shrimp broth or shrimp soup. Not sure what to call it. It's kind of like a soup, but then it's like a broth. So you call it whatever you want, but it's so tasty, delicious. It's rejuvenating, especially when it's so cold here in New York. I love making this. Sometimes I like to add crab to it. I like to do a combination with fish, shrimp, and crab. But today I'm just going to share the recipe for the shrimp broth. And I know y'all are gonna love it because every time I post pictures or videos on Instagram and Facebook, everyone's always messaging me or just commenting below the pictures to ask how to make it. But I always respond, it's so simple. It's just like if you're making a fish broth, but you just add shrimp instead. It's the same preparation, same ingredients. So today I'm gonna share my recipe for this shrimp broth and I hope you enjoy it. It has lots of good stuff in here. There are ground provisions, green figs or green bananas. I put some macaroni, not the typical macaroni that we use back home. It's just a regular big pasta. I put carrots, pumpkin, and of course it has shrimp and just lots of good stuff. There's ginger, fevergrass or lemongrass in there. So you know, those of you who like to take your little drinks on the weekend or Carnival is coming up, so I know you're gonna go to a lot of fetes and you'll need something to rejuvenate you after, so this soup will be perfect for that. It just makes me feel so warm inside and it rejuvenates me, especially when it's so cold outside and you just feel like laying around. This gives you the energy to keep going. So I promise y'all are gonna love the recipe. Keep watching to see how I do it. So let's start with our ingredient list. You'll need some shrimp. I left the shells on and I deveined them. You can remove the shells if you want, just to make it a little easier to eat. And I'm using just about 10 shrimp since I'm making a small batch of broth or broth or soup, whatever you want to call it. I also have a few pimento or seasoning peppers, onion, hot peppers, and the hot peppers are optional. If you don't like the heat, then you can just omit it. Garlic, fevergrass or lemongrass, and I couldn't find the fresh fevergrass root, so I just opted for the paste instead. Ginger, carrot, pumpkin, and of course the essential green seasoning. My basic green seasoning here contains shadon, beni or bandhania, garlic, and hot pepper. I also have some bandhania leaves, celery leaves and stalks, some chive, and some of you might call this green onion or scallion. And I have a few sprigs of thyme. Here we have our root vegetables, tubers, and other ingredients for the shrimp soup or shrimp broth. These are just what I like using. You can definitely add the ingredients that you like. I have cassava or yucca, green fig or green bananas, sweet potatoes, eddoes, aloo or potatoes, ochroes or okra, and some pasta. And dumplings can also be added to this soup. Let's start by seasoning the shrimp. I'm adding salt and green seasoning. And I'm just mixing it thoroughly, and then I'll place it into the fridge to marinate while I prepare the rest of my ingredients. Once the provisions, green figs, potatoes, carrots, and pumpkin are chopped, leave it submerged in a basin of water just to prevent oxidation or browning. Now it's time to cook. To my pot on medium-high heat, I'm adding some avocado oil, or we Trinbagonians might say zabuka oil. Once heated, it's time to chunky. Add the onion, garlic, ginger, fevergrass or lemongrass, the hot pepper, pimento peppers, chive or scallion, celery, bandhania, and thyme. Let that chunky for about 2 minutes until it's fragrant. Now throw out the water that the provisions and the carrots and the pumpkin were sitting in and add everything to the pot. So you want to add the root provisions, the aloo, green figs, the carrot, and the pumpkin. Stir that well and just let it chunky or saute for a few minutes. Now I'm adding some water. Just add enough to cover all your ingredients. So that's just about 4 to 5 cups of water, depending on the size of the pot that you're using. And I'm using tap water, or we Trinbagonians might say pipe water. And instead of water, you could add some fish broth or a seafood broth. You can make your own broth on the side, or you can just buy it. I'm adding the rest of the green seasoning, and I also added a hot pepper just to bubble up in there. And I'll baste it after when it's finished cooking. So just cover it and let it bubble for about 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, the soup or the broth is up to a rolling boil now. Now I'm testing the provisions to see if they're cooked all the way through. So they seem to be fully cooked, so I'm adding in the ochroes as well as the pasta or the macaroni. And now is a good time to add dumplings too if you're gonna add any. So you want to stir that well and taste for salt at this point, and if you need to add any, you can add some or some more seasonings or whatever you think that it needs. Once the pasta and the ochroes are cooked, now you want to add some chopped bandhania, some celery leaves, and some chive or scallion. I'm turning the heat off now, and I'm gonna add my seasoned shrimp in there. As soon as you add the shrimp, you want to stir it and then cover the pot immediately so that the shrimp cook in that residual heat. After about 4 minutes, it'll be perfectly cooked. Now is the fun part. Time to eat. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that it was helpful. Make sure you try it and share your pictures with me on social media. I am at Taste of Trinbago on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also email me at spoonfuloftrini@gmail.com. I look forward to seeing all your pictures. This soup will definitely cheer you up and make you feel rejuvenated if you're feeling a little under the weather. In Trinbago, it's a popular hangover soup, but it's usually made with fish. I prefer it with shrimp or crab, or a combination of fish, shrimp, and crab. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you like it. Leave all your comments, questions, and suggestions in the comment box below. And subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you hit the bell to be notified of every single video that I post. So until I see you all in my next one, bye! This broth or soup even is the reason why I barely get sick during the winter or just any time. Haven't been sick for about 2 or 3 years, so this is the reason why I eat a lot of broths and soups. So this soup really helps to strengthen your immune system and just keep you strong.